Question is 22-year-old Saul Martinez. He faces a litany of charges, including first-degree murder and several others, which you can see on your screen. Still an active investigation, we're told by Memphis police. The toddler was taken from his home on Southbridge and then later found on North Front Street near Fourth Bluff Park. An autopsy will determine the 3-year-old boy's cause of death, but as you can see, Saul Martinez is being charged with first-degree murder. Very tragic update to that situation, and we will continue to follow this and keep you updated with new information as it comes into our newsroom. Now we're going to continue our coverage after a body was found on North Watkins near a church campus yesterday. Officers arrived on scene shortly after 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon in an area right near Pursuit of God. They say they found a man dead. His identity has not yet been released to us, but MPD does confirm they are investigating the case as a homicide. If you've got any information, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. And an update to a fatal shooting in May involving a member of the Memphis Safe Task Force. That task force member, who was with the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, he has been cleared by Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy after that shooting outside of a Fraser Burger King. You might remember that on May 13th, a DEA agent used deadly force and shot and killed 41-year-old Darren Pigram, who was a wanted man, we're told. And investigators say he reached toward his waistband as agents approached him. And a story we brought you yesterday with an update. Kendra Scott, the woman accused of killing a grown man, she found hiding under her underage daughter's bed in her room. She is now in jail facing a $100,000 bond. Scott appeared yesterday in front of a judge for first-degree murder and firearms charges. According to the affidavit, Scott told police she found the man under her child's bed, and as he was leaving the home, Scott shot him in the back of the head, and she told police, quote, "Did what I had to do." Scott's attorneys say the first-degree murder charge could be lowered. Her next court appearance is scheduled for August 3rd. And we've got an arrest here. Memphis police make an arrest of a former employee at Temple Israel, accusing him of mass violence threats. Jason Arrington, this man on your screen, was arrested Friday after his cousin reported threatening texts. According to the affidavit, the messages mentioned taking a rifle to the Temple of Israel and later to Crosstown Concourse. Investigators say Arrington told them he sent the text by accident, believing it was going to a friend while researching mass shootings. And a Shelby County deputy is off the job after police say he attacked a woman, spit in her face, and threatened to kill her. James Webb, here on your screen, is charged with domestic assault. Last week, deputies responded to a home in Cordova. The victim told police that Webb went through her phone and, quote, saw something he didn't like, end quote. Shelby County Sheriff's Office says Webb has been relieved of duty pending further investigation. And a story to our east, outside of Jackson, Tennessee, where 3 people are dead and 9 are injured in Madison County. Now, the Madison County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened at Neely Station Park just before 11 Sunday night. So late Sunday night. Investigators say a car was also firing a high-caliber rifle from the road outside the park during the shooting. The sheriff there, Julian Weiser, calls it a gang-related incident and says investigators are reviewing park security cameras. This remains an ongoing investigation. Municipal courts and city court clerk offices remain closed at 201 Poplar due to ongoing repairs at the Shelby County Criminal Justice Complex. Administrative Judge Jane Chandler reports that all cases set for Tuesday will be rescheduled. However, General Sessions courts are back open. They reopened yesterday. A reminder, if you had court dates today, or last week during the closure, you will receive a rescheduled notice in the mail. And there are more questions than answers as investigations into cyclosporiasis continues nationwide. In Mississippi, it's prompting a push for choosing local produce. Ag Commissioner Andy Gibson says it's all the more reason to buy from Mississippi farmers, and the different variety of lettuce are growing hydroponically, that's a word, indoors in a controlled environment. Bottom line, they say lettuce that's grown locally in Mississippi is safe to eat, and now the Mississippi Department of Health is confirming 5 cases of cyclosporiasis. Luckily, no new cases have been reported. More headlines for you after the break, guys. Stay with us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Hey guys, thanks for staying with us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. More headlines for you. And with this seasonal change getting extremely hot, the state of Tennessee is warning that you might be seeing more of these hammerhead worms in your backyard. They eat earthworms, which are important for keeping soil healthy. Now, look at on your screen, these hammerhead worms have flat ribbon-like bodies and are usually brown or gray with stripes and a half-moon shaped head. If you see one, don't cut it or touch it with your bare hands. They can regenerate, and they have toxic slime apparently that can irritate your skin. What a marvelous creature. So what you want to do is you put it in a sealed container and cover it in salt, rubbing alcohol, or a citrus oil and vinegar spray. Or you can be like my kids and just put it in the driveway and watch it dry and shrivel up. Either way, ain't good for the soil. Protect the earthworms, they say. Now to an update to a story involving Meta. A jury is being selected in Nashville for Tennessee's trial against Meta. This is the company behind Instagram and Facebook. Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti claims Meta spent years studying teenage brains and created features to make kids addicted to their apps. It also alleges Meta knew excessive use could lead to mental health problems. The state wants to ban Meta from using these design features and is seeking civil penalties. Meta argues it created safe defaults for teens and simple tools for parents. Let's get a look now for the Mid-South Monarchs, Mid-South's newest hockey team. We now know their first opponent for the inaugural season. We knew that the home opener was going to be October 23rd. Now we know that the new era of hockey in the Mid-South begins October 9th versus the Monroe Moccasins. Love me a good alliteration. Mid-South Monarchs, Monroe Moccasins. Good day to be an M. The Monarchs will play their first hockey game at the Landers Center on October 23rd versus Baton Rouge. The rest of the schedule will be announced in the coming days, we're told. Tropical Depression 2 has been upgraded to a tropical storm. It's now being called Tropical Storm Bertha, bringing rain and gusty winds to parts of the northern Gulf Coast this week. Families in South Mississippi are racing against the clock to prepare while still cleaning up after last month's storm. You might remember that storm turned deadly. A county road worker in Franklin County lost his life during cleanup, and there were dozens of swiftwater rescues last month. Now, here comes another round of heavy rain and potential flooding. Volunteers with Samaritan's Purse are helping people prepare before more rain arrives. The program manager for Samaritan's Purse says the team planned to leave August 15th, but they'll stay longer if needed. Residents are hoping the next round of storms doesn't bring more flooding, so they don't have to start over. Bringing you back to last month and the flooding, every member of the Mississippi congressional delegation signed a letter to President Donald Trump urging him to approve major disaster declarations after the remnants of Tropical Storm Arthur passed through South Mississippi last month. Those rains, you remember, were a part of Tropical Storm Arthur, which swept through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. Parts of the state, as we mentioned, saw flooding, tornadoes, and straight-line winds causing damage to homes and businesses. Including in the request is individual and public assistance for several counties. And take a look at this. They say everything's bigger in Texas, but their tallest police officer was outsourced from right here in Memphis. That's 7'3" Bluff City native Jordan Wilmore. He's officially a police officer in Kemah, Texas. We told you about him back in December. He played basketball at Whitehaven, Mizzou, and Austin Peay before going overseas. When he came back to the States, he took the test to become a cop, but missed out by 1 point. But he happened to catch the attention of another famous big man. Perhaps you've heard of him, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq sponsored his second chance, and at the time he earned a badge becoming the tallest officer in the country. And an exciting day in Fayette County coming up this morning. Baptist Memorial Healthcare will hold a topping out ceremony for their new Baptist Memorial Hospital, Fayette County. The event's at 10 at the hospital construction site in Summerville. Leaders and community members will sign the topmost steel beam before it's placed on the building. The hospital will be the only one in the county, so this is a big deal for rural healthcare in our area. Baptist expects the whole project to cost $27 million, and it is set to open in the spring of next year. And we know it, folks. It's hot. Today is a first alert weather day as extreme heat is gripping the Mid-South, which is bad news for any student athletes who are in the middle of summer practices. With temps this high, experts say families need to take extra precaution before sending kids outside. Kids can start to get muscle cramps, confusion, but they can also develop prickly heat. That's a heat-related condition that causes chills and goosebumps. I've had that. That is not fun. If your child suffers a heat-related illness, just take a break, guys. It's not that hard. Take a break. Keep your kids safe. Avoid going outside during the middle of the day. Instead, head out during the early morning or late evening. If your child is showing signs of heat-related emergency, get them to the nearest hospital immediately. And I'll take a testament to that. I cut the grass at my church. I strategically looked up what time the sun sets, even brought a headlamp, got on the zero-turn mower, and I was cutting the grass in some pretty cool weather because I waited until sunset, because ain't no way I'm gonna be on the zero-turn for a couple of hours in that blistering heat, and it is a hot one today. Coming up after the break, guys, we've got a first alert look at your forecast on this first alert weather day with meteorologist Patrick Ellis. Stay with us, guys. More Action News 5 Digital Desk after the break. All right, guys, as we mentioned before the break, it is a first alert weather day. Temps in the 90s, but in the feels like era, it's going to be in the 100s, some in the 110s. We've got to look at your forecast with first alert meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm First Alert meteorologist Patrick Ellis. And on this First Alert weather day, we're talking about high heat, high humidity, and the risk of a couple of storms later on today as well. As we look at those heat precautions, a reminder to drink plenty of hydrating fluids. Stay inside if you can, inside in the AC. Of course, not everybody has that opportunity. If you have to be outside for prolonged periods of time, making sure that you're taking breaks in the shade or indoors, wearing light, loose-fitting clothing, also just being neighborly, checking in on folks who may not have adequate access to cooling relief. Make sure your kids are not just running willy-nilly out in the yard without some adequate protection. Your pets, same idea with that too. With the storm potential, again, it's kind of on the lower end of confidence. We have high confidence that we've got the heat and the humidity. We have a lower confidence that we'll have storms here later on today, but if we do get storms, a few of those could become a little bit on the stronger side. Again, the coverage like 20-30%, not very much. We're starting to see some breaks in the clouds, and we'll continue that trend here, but as we head through the afternoon hours, there's a possibility you get a couple of spotty downpours to develop, and if you get underneath one of them, hey, at least it will cool you off for a little bit of time. Coverage of rain will continue to stay at least somewhat elevated as the front works its way into the area. The front slips southward. That brings down the temperatures pretty quickly in the wake of it. Remember, highs today will top out middle to upper 90s. Feels like temperatures 110 to 115. Yesterday we got up to 97. The feels like temperature was 115 officially at Memphis International. Our highest here at Action News 5 in Midtown was 116 degrees yesterday afternoon. It is very possible that we can do that again here today. You add in the chances for a few storms, and it does add a little bit of complication with this. The severe weather potential would come from the strong wind aspects. Some localized flooding can't be ruled out. And a lot of this is done by midnight tonight into early hours of your Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, the frontal boundary continues to work its way down towards the south. We'll end up being a little bit quieter for a couple of days, and lower humidity as well. Wednesday features highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s from the I-40 corridor point southward, north of I-40, middle to upper 80s. Yeah, lower humidity definitely coming into play here. I do want to let you know, as the winds start to turn around, though, we're going to start ushering in another element in the skies. It'll be wildfire smoke that sneaks in here from Canada. It will not be nearly at the concentration levels as what we saw in places like Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland and DC and New York over the course of the last couple of days, where it was almost a blackout when it comes down to the amount of smoke that was in the air. It will not be like that, but you will probably notice some more haze in the skies here and maybe a tinge of that smell in the distance as we head through the middle portion of this week. But at least we get a little bit of a reprieve from the heat and humidity that we've seen the last several days. Thursday we'll go for highs here in the city about 89. Other locations 83 in Dyersburg and Blytheville, 85 in Jackson, near 90 down towards Oxford, low 90s in Clarksdale. Feels like temperatures won't be nearly as hot those days as well because of the humidity levels at least taking a little bit of a backseat. Friday we'll start to rebound the temperatures a little bit. The humidity levels start to come up just a little bit as well as we head through the afternoon hours. Maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm, maybe a little better chance coming up on Saturday as another front approaches us. We'll have more clouds to contend with as we head through Saturday and Sunday. But, here you don't see the rain coming down all day long. I think there will be periods of time where we could have some showers, some rumbles of thunder. More clouds in the skies may keep our temperatures at bay before we get into Sunday, which the clouds won't be as prevalent on Sunday, but we'll still have a chance for a couple of showers and storms to contend with during the course of the day. On Sunday, highs will top out there in the lower 90s. Then the big heat returns very quickly heading in towards Monday of next week, where it feels like temperatures once again 106 to 112 possibly, with middle and upper 90s for actual air temperatures as we start off next week here across the Mid-South. So again, a very quick transition from where we have some lower humidity, lower temperatures for a couple of days. All of a sudden, we're right back into the heat of it as we head towards early next week. Couple of things to note here. We got some school districts getting back into session next week as well. This week, Marion goes back on Thursday. Hey, at least you're not dealing with the 99 today. It'll be 10 degrees off the mark of that by Thursday. Corinth goes back on Monday. And I do believe like Cross County, several other counties will go back throughout the course. McNairy County goes back during the course of next week too. Temperatures will be probably their hottest between Monday and Wednesday. Will come back closer to average by the back end of the week. And again, reminder, the weekend, not a washout, but there will be at least a chance for a few storms. Obviously, before you get to that, you got to deal with the heat, especially here today. Stay weather aware. We'll keep you advised throughout the course of the day on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, as well as actionnews5.com, and throughout the day on the television side, not only here on the digital desk, but at midday, 3:30, 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock.
Folks, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We've received word about funeral arrangements for U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Of course, his cause of death was determined to be a condition called aortic dissection. Hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And our friends at Regional One were proactive in offering us a medical professional to raise awareness here in Memphis and the Mid-South. And I'm joined now by that very expert. We've got Dr. Erica Mitchell. She's the medical director of vascular and endovascular surgery at Regional One. She's here to answer a couple of basic questions just on how we can stay heart healthy, heart conscious, and make sure that when conditions like this make national headlines, we can do our due diligence to make sure we here are taking proper precautions. Dr. Mitchell, good morning. Thank you for coming on and joining us. Let's first start with the easy question of what is aortic dissection? First, am I saying it correctly? And then what are the run-of-the-mill symptoms for folks to be on the lookout for? Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the question. Yes, aortic dissection is a tear in the main artery arising out of the heart. Typically, there are 3 layers of arterial wall, and when a tear occurs in this wall, it can disrupt the flow to the major arteries going to the heart, the abdominal viscera, so those are organs in the abdomen, so kidney, liver, spleen, stomach, intestines, and also down to the legs. So when a dissection occurs, it can be extremely life-threatening, depending on the type, and there are 2 types. One is type A, and that arises immediately off of the heart. And type B is when it comes from the artery just below the artery going to the arm. So that's really a descending thoracic aortic dissection.
Got it. And so what are the warning signs? It sounds like some of these conditions, you don't recognize it until it's too late, but maybe there are some telltale signs, something to be on the lookout for. What would some of those be?
Yes, immediately you would feel a sensation of tearing chest pain, or chest pain that descends down to the stomach or intestines, or even down to the legs. So immediate rip-roaring chest pain is definitely a sign that you might have an aortic dissection.
Understood. And so, go ahead.
I was going to say, risk factors for aortic dissection are sustained high blood pressure. So if you have blood pressure that is not controlled, if you have a congenital condition or maybe a genetic condition, there are 6 conditions that have abnormalities in the connective tissue of the aorta. And then, of course, patients at risk with peripheral arterial disease, that's high blood pressure, smoking history, men over 60 are at higher risk of aortic dissection.
Understood. And so what are our preventative measures? Obviously, if you're feeling some of these symptoms, these tearing chest pains you're talking about, if it's extending to limbs, your arm, your leg, what are some precautions that you can take? Obviously, you would probably encourage going to see a specialist, but if you have that high blood pressure, that sustained high blood pressure, what are some of the things that you can do to try and tamp down some of those symptoms and make sure that you're snuffing this out before it gets worse?
Absolutely. If you have a family history of a connective tissue disorder, you certainly need to be seen by your vascular surgeon or your hospitalist or specialist routinely. but maintaining good blood pressure, avoiding tobacco products. And of course, if you have these symptoms, the first thing that you need to do is seek immediate medical attention and go to the emergency department. And the first thing that they will do is bring down this blood pressure. If you have a type A dissection, and that's the one that arises right outside of your heart, that requires immediate operation of replacement of that portion of the aorta that is affected. Mortality rates are about 2% per hour. So at 48 hours, that means you're not going to survive. And about 40% of patients don't survive if you have a type A dissection. If you have a type B dissection, that's the dissection that arises just below the artery going to the left arm, that the medical management for that immediately is blood pressure control. And if you have symptoms of malperfusion, that means not enough blood going to the intestines, to the kidneys, to the legs, that would require immediate stent placement. So that's going inside of the artery, placing a tube inside of the artery to tack down that wall so that you get flow to the arteries that are essential for life.
Understood. So certainly time is of the essence, especially when you talk about that type A. So obviously it sounds
Yes.
like Regional 1, where you are, has the technology, the capabilities to go in and look for those tears in that heart region to try and make that determination. And you just said it yourself, if it's type B, blood pressure management is paramount. And so how often do we see conditions like this in Memphis? You know, we have our history with heart attack and stroke. Obviously, those are the big ones that people know very well. But I think aortic dissection is a new term we're starting to add to our medical vernacular. How many times do we see this compared to a heart attack or a stroke? And how many times do we get confused with, say, a heart attack compared to aortic dissection?
It's not as common as a heart attack or a stroke. However, when you do get these symptoms, it's urgent that you get immediate treatment, because unlike a heart attack or a stroke, this condition can be terminal in some patients, as experienced, unfortunately, by Senator Lindsey Graham.
When you talk about that tearing sensation, that symptom we're looking for, if we're to look at maybe perhaps a pain scale 1 to 10, what do you think is something we obviously don't want someone to, sort of make it up in their head that they feel a little bit of a ting in their chest and they think, oh my gosh, do I have aortic dissection? I got to go to the hospital real quick. If we're looking for that tearing sensation you're talking about, I imagine this would be excruciating pain, something that would send alarm bells, and not maybe one that we would question. Is this the sensation I'm feeling? But I see you nodding your head, so I'm on the
Yes.
the right path here. Yeah.
Yes, this pain will probably be described as a 20 out of 10. So it's really tearing, acute or rapid chest pain that's tearing, or a sensation of ripping, which is unlike the feelings of a heart attack, which may be an elephant sitting on your chest, or pain that's radiating to your left arm, or stroke where you're having more of a headache or symptoms of not being able to move your arm or your leg, or visual changes or speech changes. This is distinctly different chest pain, and one would know immediately. It needs immediate attention.
I think 20 out of 10 is a great way to remember that. So we're talking excruciating pain. Okay, so Dr. Mitchell, we've kind of thrown a lot in perhaps a medical fire hose at our viewers here. We've talked about the different types, type A, type B, some of the telltale signs, the symptoms that we can be on the lookout for. But overall, just in your experience, in what you have seen in your caseload, what is one important takeaway for folks to think about when they think of aortic dissection? What is the most important thing people need to remember from this conversation?
Yes, it typically arises in men over 60. Sustained high blood pressure and stress can certainly lead to that. And anyone with risk factors for peripheral arterial disease, and there is a subset, women that are pregnant can also, with unsustained high blood pressure, can also be affected with aortic dissection.
I have
So
one
I
more
would-
question. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. No, please go ahead.
It's more of a personal question, because you talk about stress being a contributing factor. I have a slight history not with cardiovascular disease, but I worked a very stressful job before coming into TV and went to a cardiologist, and it was a combination of stress and also an overconsumption of caffeine that led to some heart palpitations. Fortunately, heart is strong. The ticker is working just fine. We raked in on the caffeine intake. Went to, if you can believe it, that TV is a less stressful job than the one I had earlier. But some of the other contributing factors, stress we talked about, I would imagine, overconsumption of caffeine, working that heart. What are some other, over-exercising for men over 60 who might still be trying to stay in shape? What are some of those contributing factors that people can be on the lookout for? And, maybe they don't have the symptom, but they might want to consult a cardiologist and see what their proper course of action needs to be in that 60+ range to still stay active, stay fit, but be mindful of your heart condition. I'm very curious.
Yes. Well, I can imagine that you still have a lot of stress in your job, but it's eliminating those risk factors of high blood pressure. So if you know you have a history of high blood pressure, definitely take your medications, or make sure that your medication regime is appropriate. Avoid stressful conditions. Some people do say that there is a higher risk with things that raise your blood pressure. So amphetamines, cocaine use, obviously avoid those.
Sure.
Activities that increase your blood pressure, but most importantly, risk factors for peripheral arterial disease as well. So that's tobacco use, age, routine exercise, managing your cholesterol, and having a healthy diet and exercise. So the usual things we say as vascular surgeons to avoid arterial disease.
It always seems like it's the usual things, the duh advice, but hey, look, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dr. Erica Mitchell, anything else you'd like to add or touch on that I might not have addressed?
I would say follow up routinely with your physician, avoid the risk factors, and if you do experience these symptoms, seek medical treatment immediately.
Again, simplicity is key. Consult your doctor and, again, pay attention to those symptoms, folks. 20 out of 10, that's our pain scale. Dr. Erica Mitchell and the folks at Regional One, thank you again for offering this advice off the heels of some tragic news from the U.S. Capitol. We really thank you for, again, the medical guidance and for coming on to give us here locally some insight into aortic dissection. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
We're getting ready to welcome our friends from the Memphis International Airport. They are going to be having their second annual Runway 5K. I mean, if anything, a very picturesque event and a very unique event. How many of you get to say you ran a race on the tarmac of an international airport? But you don't have to hear it from me. You get to hear it from our friend Mia Harvey from Memphis International, who's sort of spearheading the organization for this second annual event. First off, Mia, good morning. We're happy to have you to talk more about this event and help promote it. Some healthy living here in Memphis in the Mid-South. First off, good morning. What's going to be new, or is it going to be we did perfect the first time, we're going to go again and see if we can recreate the success we saw? We're just excited. We're excited to have you on and excited to promote this event. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you again for having us. We are super excited. As So now that we have you're hearing that it's a second annual, so obviously the first one went just great. So we are excited to bring it back September 19th this year. We are expanding how many registrants we'll have available this year. First year we tried to cap it around 1,000. Well, we kept moving up. So let me say this: when we first started to plan it last year, we were like, "Oh, we'll be good if we get like 300 people to participate." Then we got to 300. Then we're like, "Okay, well, let's go to 500." Then we got 500 people to sign up. So then we were like, okay, well let's go for 750. We got 750 people to sign up. And so we said 1,000, and we got to about 983. So we're here to be able to have cap at about 2,000. And so if you're interested, I would say go ahead and start signing up now.
That's incredible. And so that's part of the reason why we're having you on. Registration is open. We had the early bird registration. Now it's just the regular window is open. It's in September, so we've got some time to work with. But I mean, as you were saying, I mean, those spots are filling up quickly. Was that shocking for you to see? Because I mean, any inaugural event, you're never really sure, is this going to hit off to a great success? But you just kept expanding the cap, and you hit 1,000 last year. Like, let's not bite off more than we can chew. Let's make sure first and foremost we can handle this. But to practically double the cap, was that surprising for you?
It was a little surprising. We figured that would be a few years down the road. There's a few other airports, not necessarily close here, but that do the same sort of event. So the Miami airport does it. The the Charlotte airport does it. Atlanta airport does it. And so we figured that it would take us a few years to kind of get to those big numbers. But for us to knock it out the park the first year, we're super excited to be able to do that. And so we are definitely, there were some lessons learned, but it went off without a kick. We heard a lot of people that loved the event. Surprisingly, some people said that they did not hear about it. So, we're really appreciative for you guys to be able to help us to spread the word that this is such a cool event. And again, as you said before, who would have thought, or who can say that they were able to run on a runway where actually you'll see planes taking off. You'll get able to run under a 777 airplane. We'll also have some other kind of airplanes out as well. So we're super excited about this year.
Yeah, we're showing video from last year. You saw our Jerry Askin. He was one of the MCs. He's a big runner, ran it himself. And it's not one of those situations where you say, oh yeah, it's at the Memphis International Airport, and maybe it's in the parking lot. It's like we're showing imagery now. Like, we're on the tarmac, we're running underneath one of the FedEx 747s. I mean, it's one of those unique events that honestly adds to a little bit of the enticement. It's not just some trail through a neighborhood. It's like, hey, you want to come run on the tarmac at Memphis International? Let's do it. I mean, how long is the tarmac? Is this a straight line from one end to the other? I mean, it wouldn't shock me if I have terrible depth perception. So if you were to tell me that was the equivalent of a 5K, I'd believe you. But what does our course look like? Are we running in a straight line and then down and back? What are runners going to be able to see when they come and they start from the starting line and into the finish line?
So I've heard a lot from the runners that this was actually one of the best courses because it was flat.
No way.
You have a small incline when you first start, and then really it's you just think of it. We won't want an airplane going like this. So it's a really cool flat surface. You kind of do a roundabout, and then you circle back to our to the start finish lines in the same area. So super flat area. And like I said, runners, or the feedback that we got last year, is that this was one of the best areas to run, strictly because of how the surface was. So and also, I just want to bring up that this is a great opportunity, or a lot of people don't know that the airport, we have a 501c3. So it's called the Memphis International Airport Foundation. And so we do a lot of great things in the community. And so the proceeds from this race is what goes to that foundation, where we're able to expand, get middle school and high school students, and even college students interested in careers in aviation. We want to strengthen our talent pipeline here in Memphis. We also have an annual art program that this foundation supports, and other community initiatives in the area.
That's great. And you're 2 steps ahead of me because that was my next question. Obviously, registration has a fee to it, but what is it going toward? Well, it's going to that 501c3 that you mentioned, the art project, helping try and promote aviation, getting students involved in those programs. We've got a few in the area. I know Delta State down in the Delta, they've kind of got a pipeline up here to FedEx. U of M's got kind of a fledgling aviation program, commercial aviation program they're trying to build up a little bit. So it's great that in a place like Memphis where we have FedEx, we'd love to have some locally grown pilots, and this is just one of the ways to try and promote that. So great stuff you're doing in the community.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Parker. Also, we the careers in aviation, it's not always the ones we want to expose them to are not necessarily just like the pilots here, but also we have painters that we expose the careers to as well. And so the painters make sure that all of the markings on the runway with the special reflective paint are in federal guidelines. We have electricians here. We have mechanics who work on they don't necessarily work on airplanes, but work on any vehicles that help to support the operations here at the airport. We have operations duty managers that make sure that the runways are clear and safe and in regulation. So those are some of the careers. We have a K9 unit. We have our own police force here. And so those behind the scenes aviation careers are the ones we really want to connect students to as well. And again, those are middle school students and high school students. We have a program called MemSoar, and so that is particular to that age group. And we also, one of the schools that we support right here in the community is the Oak Haven Community Schools as well.
MemSoar, I love that. Thank you for cutting me off because that is so important. Because I mean, it's those behind the scenes jobs that people don't traditionally associate with the aviation industry, but the folks who paint the runways, we need safe runways for the planes to land, obviously, and there are people who paint the stripes on there. And I've got actually family who are mechanics over at the hub. So, I mean, those are important jobs. Need the planes to work. I've got one friend that works at the new de-icing facility. So, many different, I mean, like, I got some connects over at the airport, but but you're right. It's those and it's so important to open that up to students at a young age in high school through MemSoar and let them know that, hey, these are careers that, the flight industry, especially FedEx, it's sustainable, if you will. So, a stable career there. So, so all of that coming from proceeds in part from this Runway 5K. Where are we now? I know registration just opened up, but are you able to see how many spots we have left? I'd hate to promote this and say, now we're already tapped out at 2,000. So where are we right now? Are you able to see?
We're good. We're at about 500. We do know that as we get closer to the race, people will start signing up. I will say don't wait till the last minute. Like we are, again, and one reason why we have to cap is because, as you can imagine, running in an airport, one of the most secure places, there's a lot of security clearance that has to go on before you can actually come in this area. And so that is one of the big reasons why we have to, have everyone signed up prior to the race. So I do want to stress that there is no day of sign up. And again, that is because we have to have special security clearance because of where the race is actually located on the runway.
Very important stuff. Okay, so last questions is sort of the logistics. So don't wait till the last day, but where can folks find sign-up information? How much is registration? What is probably the latest? When's the cutoff date for registration? I think there is a cutoff date so that you don't have those last day sign-ups. So last we'll get to is logistical information. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so you can find information on our website, www.flymemphis.com, and you'll see the Runway 5K kind of button at the top of the website. The last day to sign up is September 13th. Again, we have to get everyone's names in, who will be running, date of birth, all of those things. Another big thing is to make sure that everyone brings their ID day of, because those will be a check-in if you're signing up. Again, we've got a few spots available. Also, if anyone is interested in being a corporate sponsor, that would be an awesome opportunity as well. You do get a few registrations depending on what level you sign up for. So that's an awesome opportunity to get involved. Again, the proceeds go to a great cause here. We're really doing some great work behind the scenes here in Memphis and the surrounding community, and we will love to keep this pushing. The biggest thing is that you can find the cost, you can sign up. So we're about $45 now. since the early bird special is over. We have if you have a stroller, you want to bring your kids, that'll be available as well. We'll have a few little smaller airplanes that you can go and view as well. We've got the Tennessee
Okay.
National Guard is going to help out, and of course our Purple Promise partners next door, FedEx. They're such a awesome team to work with, and they'll be providing the big planes for us as well.
Fantastic. All right, Mia Harvey with Memphis International. Thanks so much for coming on. We're personally excited. I know Jerry's going to be running in it again. I mentioned it off camera. I'm going to sign up. Like, very excited. Hopefully the weather's perfect. September seems like that prime running weather. If it cools off just a little bit and gives us sort of that intro into fall. Very excited again to help you promote it, and we hope folks will go on the website and fill that cap out again. Maybe we, make that a precedent. We'll just add 1,000 more for the next year and make it a success for MIMSOR and all the other nonprofits and benefits that Memphis International does in the community. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks, Parker. Sounds like you want to be an MC as well, so I'll get with you after the seat.
Hey, I won't say no. So thanks again to her and for Memphis International for always being great partners. And so we're very excited to promote that event. And you heard Mia talk about the information on where you can find info. If you don't remember and want to go back and look, we'll obviously have this on our website, actionnews5.com. Click on the digital desk tab. We'll have more information. Hey guys, welcome back. We've actually got some breaking news we want to bring you. Shelby County Health Department has confirmed its first case of measles for the year. This is the information we were just provided. Officials say the infected person may have been exposed, may have exposed others at 2 locations. They mentioned the the Hobby Lobby in Bartlett and the Aldi in Lakeland. So this person would have been at the Hobby Lobby in Bartlett July 9th between the hours of 6 and 8 in the evening, and the Lakeland Aldi on July 15th between the hours of 6 and 8 in the evening. Same time frame, different days, different locations. If you were at either of those places at either of those times, health leaders urge you to monitor your symptoms, including rash, fever, cough, red and watery eyes. This is the 3rd measles case in Tennessee this year, but the health department says this local case does not appear to be connected to the other 2. The MMR vaccine is available at any Shelby County Health Department location. Again, monitor your symptoms. We'll say it right now again. On your screen, you've got the list of dates. July 9th, the Hobby Lobby in Bartlett. July 15th, the Aldi in Lakeland. Both time frames, 6 and 8 in the evening. We've also got a breaking update to a very tragic scene that we brought to you yesterday morning and updated throughout the day. A Memphis toddler found dead after being taken by his father Sunday night without permission. This 3-year-old right here, Joseph Martinez, is the 3-year-old who was found dead. Detectives say the father came back home Monday morning without Martinez. The boy's body was found on North Front Street near 4th Bluff Park. An autopsy will determine the 3-year-old's cause of death. But the breaking update from Memphis police this morning is that the father who was taken into custody is this man allegedly right here, Saul Martinez. Memphis police originally would not disclose his identity yesterday. He was seen in intake records
later confirmed this morning. 22-year-old Saul Martinez, as you can read, he faces a litany of charges, among them first-degree murder. This is still an active investigation, but the breaking update is the identity of the father who supposedly took Joseph Martinez from his home and returned Monday morning without him. Martinez's body found dead later yesterday morning. Also found dead, apparently a body in Fraser. Memphis police arrived on a scene around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Found a body on North Watkins Street near the campus of a church, specifically Pursuit of God. The man's identity has not yet been released, and there's no word from authorities on how he died, but MPD does confirm this is being investigated as a homicide. If you happen to have any information about this particular case, you're asked to call Memphis Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. And an update from a fatal shooting at a Fraser Burger King back in May, which involved a member of the Memphis Safe Task Force. That task force member, who was with the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, he has been cleared by Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy. Mulroy's office concluded that the May 13th incident and the use of deadly force was legally justified. No criminal charges will be filed. Investigators say the DEA agent shot and killed 41-year-old Darren Pigram, a wanted man, after investigators say he reached toward his waistband as agents approached. We're getting close to the 10 o'clock portion of the digital desk here on Action News 5. And so what we want to do is bring in our weather team to give a second look at weather this hour. It is a first alert weather day. It is high temps. It's going to get into the 90s, but it's going to feel like it's in the hundreds, 110s in some areas. So we've got our weather team coming in to give us a bit of an update. Also coming up at 10 o'clock, we've got a member of the Orange Mound Blight Patrol coming to share some insight on how this group he's organized has begun to clean up the streets of Orange Mound and how you can participate if you'd like to. They got a couple of events later in the year. And so we'll go weather, break, and then hopefully our friends with the Orange Mound Blight Patrol will be on standby. But here's a look from our meteorological team.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm First Alert meteorologist Patrick Ellison. On this First Alert weather day, we're talking about high heat, high humidity, and the risk of a couple of storms later on today as well. As we look at those heat precautions, a reminder to drink plenty of hydrating fluids. Stay inside if you can, inside in the AC. Of course, not everybody has that opportunity. If you have to be outside for prolonged periods of time, making sure that you're taking breaks in the shade or indoors. Wearing light, loose-fitting clothing. Also, just being neighborly, checking in on folks who may not have adequate access to cooling relief. Make sure your kids are not just running willy-nilly out in the yard without some adequate protection. Your pets, same idea with that too. With the storm potential, again, it's kind of on the lower end of confidence. We have high confidence that we've got the heat and the humidity. We have a lower confidence that we'll have storms here later on today, but if we do get storms, a few of those could become a little bit on the stronger side. Again, the coverage like 20-30%, not very much. We're starting to see some breaks in the clouds, and we'll continue that trend here, but as we head through the afternoon hours, there's a possibility you get a couple of spotty downpours to develop, and if you get underneath one of them, hey, at least it will cool you off for a little bit of time. Coverage of rain will continue to stay at least somewhat elevated as the front works its way into the area. The front slips southward. That brings down the temperatures pretty quickly in the wake of it. Remember, highs today will top out middle to upper 90s. Feels like temperatures 110 to 115. Yesterday we got up to 97. The feels like temperature was 115 officially at Memphis International. Our highest here at Action News 5 in Midtown was 116 degrees yesterday afternoon. It is very possible that we can do that again here today. You add in the chances for a few storms, and it does add a little bit of complication with this. The severe weather potential would come from the strong wind aspects. Some localized flooding can't be ruled out. And a lot of this is done by midnight tonight into early hours of your Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, the frontal boundary continues to work its way down towards the south. We'll end up being a little bit quieter for a couple of days, and lower humidity as well. Wednesday features highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s from the I-40 corridor point southward, north of I-40, middle to upper 80s. Yeah, lower humidity definitely coming into play here. I do want to let you know, as the winds start to turn around, though, we're going to start ushering in another element in the skies. It'll be wildfire smoke that sneaks in here from Canada. It will not be nearly at the concentration levels as what we saw in places like Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland and DC and New York over the course of the last couple of days, where it was almost a blackout when it comes down to the amount of smoke that was in the air. It will not be like that, but you will probably notice some more haze in the skies here and maybe a tinge of that smell in the distance as we head through the middle portion of this week. But at least we get a little bit of a reprieve from the heat and humidity that we've seen the last several days. Thursday, we'll go for highs here in the city about 89. Other locations, 83 in Dyersburg and Blytheville, 85 in Jackson, near 90 down towards Oxford, low 90s in Clarksdale. Feels like temperatures won't be nearly as hot those days as well because of the humidity levels, at least taking a little bit of a backseat. Friday, we'll start to rebound the temperatures a little bit. The humidity levels start to come up just a little bit as well as we head through the afternoon hours. Maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm, maybe a little better chance coming up on Saturday as another front approaches us. We'll have more clouds to contend with as we head through Saturday and Sunday. But, here you don't see the rain coming down all day long. I think there will be periods of time where we could have some showers, some rumbles of thunder. More clouds in the skies may keep our temperatures at bay before we get into Sunday, which the clouds won't be as prevalent on Sunday, but we'll still have a chance for a couple of showers and storms to contend with during the course of the day. On Sunday, highs will top out there in the lower 90s. Then the big heat returns very quickly heading in towards Monday of next week, where it feels like temperatures once again 106 to 112 possibly, with middle and upper 90s for actual air temperatures as we start off next week here across the Mid-South. So again, a very quick transition from where we have some lower humidity, lower temperatures for a couple of days. All of a sudden, we're right back into the heat of it as we head towards early next week. Couple of things to note here. We got some school districts getting back into session next week as well. This week, Marion goes back on Thursday. Hey, at least you're not dealing with the 99 today. It'll be 10 degrees off the mark of that by Thursday. Corinth goes back on Monday. And I do believe like Cross County, several other counties will go back throughout the course. McNairy County goes back during the course of next week too. Temperatures will be probably their hottest between Monday and Wednesday. Will come back closer to average by the back end of the week. And again, reminder, the weekend, not a washout, but there will be at least a chance for a few storms. Obviously, before you get to that, you got to deal with the heat, especially here today. Stay weather aware. We'll keep you advised throughout the course of the day on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, as well as actionnews5.com, and throughout the day on the television side, not only here on the digital desk, but at midday, 3:30, 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock.
First, we've got a very special interview right off the top. We're joined now with country artist Rodney Atkins, doing a bit of a media tour to talk about his latest album release, True South. It's out now. It's been out for about a month, and we're talking about it. Rodney, I'm going to get the fan out of the top, because I got to tell you, I don't mean to date you. I turn 32 next month, but when I listen to songs like Watching You, I am teleported back to my dad's truck being taken to football practice in the mid-2000s. So, I mean, you're a part of my childhood and a lot of childhoods, at least here in the South, in Mississippi, in the Mid-South. So I want to thank you first and foremost for that. fan is out of the way. We're going to get more to the professional side of this with the release of the album. So let's go into the album. I know I got you for only a few minutes, but let's talk about that and what the release has been like for you personally and professionally. Good morning.
Man, good morning. I don't even know what to say. That's the coolest thing ever, to be a part, to have songs, and that's the challenge, is to have songs that will be relevant, that were relevant 20, 30 years ago, and trying to have songs that will be relevant 20, 30 years from now. And to be a part of somebody's family, I mean, that's cooler than having a hit song. That's everything.
No, really and truly, there are a few songs that, at least for me personally, it's a smell or a sound or a sight that transports you back. Watching You is just one of those songs. So when people say, I've never heard of Rodney Atkins, I'm like, yes, you have. Let me play Watching You, and then you're suddenly transported back. So talking about the album, there's some recreations you've done. We can go right into Watching You 2.0, where you performed this particular track on the album with your son. What was that like for you to kind of have that full circle moment where, I mean, you're singing about parenthood, and I've got 2 kids of my own. I've got a third on the way, a son. So a lot of this stuff is hitting me as a young dad. The lyrics hitting you about how your kids are watching you, and for you to perform that with your son, going on 20 years later. What was that like for you as an artist and a dad?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was shy growing up. He's that way. I didn't think he had any interest in wanting to sing. And my wife, she just sweet talked him and convinced him. I think she made him his favorite chicken casserole, and got him to, it was a TikTok. She said, just sing one chorus, just one chorus. And he did, and it was 12, 13 million views later. She said, okay, boys, you got to do the whole song. And, as that thing came together, he's a good singer. And it's kind of the way the song was always meant to be, the kids singing the choruses. And I kind of like this version even better. But yet, Watching You 2.0 is on this new album, this new True South album. We've got to perform it together a couple times, too. At the Ryman last year, we played at Nissan Stadium. It's pretty surreal for him to be coming out singing that song with me.
No, it's awesome. So back to the album, it's all encompassing of, your many years in the industry. You've got one particular track on there, The Years Are Short. It's just a lot of what I'm getting, just like I said, as a young dad, is the embodiment of parenthood, growing up with your roots in the rural South. Take us to that inspiration. For country artists who are like you, who've got decades under their belt, what still keeps you motivated to push out music like this, drawing from this inspiration?
I'm saying about the same thing. I can remember going back when I was doing the Going Through Hell album, where the original Watching You was. I was drawn to songs about life, like Watching You, If You're Going Through Hell, and These Are My People, and Cleaning This Gun. And it was songs about life. And I kept being encouraged by some of the folks at the record label. I needed to sing more love songs. Got to sing the love songs. And I was just drawn to live songs, and the label really got on board and supported me trying to have a career on those kind of songs. And that's what this is. There's a couple of personal, I guess you could say they're love songs, or kind of life love songs on the new record. But I say I'm singing about friends, family, and the good Lord. That's what I've always tried to sing about. And this album is really about that. And I think relatable to folks just trying to raise their family and, do the best that they can.
No, I love it. A lot of that stuff resonates with the the core country music audience. I got just one last question. It's just final thoughts. As we're a month into this album release, what has some of the feedback been from your fans, your community, to hear some of the old with a new twist on it, kind of like been Watching You 2.0, but also some of the new stuff that you've added. What's that been like as you've kind of been on this tour?
It's been amazing. I've been pleasantly surprised. Reviews in the past of my past albums, I had to learn to have some thick skin because there were some brutal reviews. This has been really cool, man. People are telling me mostly what I've heard is this is their favorite album that I've ever done. So I'm so stoked about that to be at this place now. And, you know, I took my time making this record because I wanted to have something special. And it's been amazing. And we're getting to play these songs out live now, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, True South is out, folks. It launched May 29th. It's been out on your favorite streaming channels. You can listen to some of that old stuff with a new twist, some of the new stuff from Rodney Atkins right here from the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Rodney, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate you, and best of luck with the duration of this album release.
Thank you, Barker. Appreciate you, man. That means the world. You made my day.
Hey, Warren, is that you? Are you here? Let's see. Is your mic on, Warren?
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
perfect. Can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay. Let's see. You think you could set your phone down, something that gives you a little more space?
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. I like that. I'm doing good. All right, Warren, so we're a few seconds out of break, and then I'll come out to you. We're just going to talk about the Blight Patrol. Sounds like a fun thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, guys, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. A bit of an inspiring story, a testament of community cleanup and beautification and just neighbors working together to make sure the area they live, at least here in Memphis, is something to be appreciated, something to be proud of. It's called the Orange Mound Blight Patrol, and the guy who's been emailing us about it and sending us pictures is my guy right here, Warren. Warren, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sending in pictures and talking about it. I first want to get to sort of the beginning of it, the Orange Mound Blight Patrol. How did this all start? Good morning.
Come on, how you doing?
Doing good,
So
man.
what
How did
I-
it all start? Go ahead.
Our organization did, it's two organizations called Guns Down in Orange Mound. We was in the contest, Jerry Price. So we want to lead, and so we've been taking an initiative to keep our neighborhood clean.
I love that. And so, how long has it been going on? You've had several events, cleanup events, where groups of people, we'll show some video in just a second, groups gathering, picking up trash, making Orange Mound a little bit more beautiful, one event at a time. So what has turnout been like? How long has this been going on?
So we've been going on for 9 years straight. So 9 years straight. And so we've been keeping our neighborhood so clean and under my leadership.
And so what does that mean to you to have this tradition going 9 years strong, to see it grow and to see different parts of Orange Mound cleaned up, and what once had trash now is cleaned up? You said under your leadership. What's that been like for you personally?
It's been good. It's been good under my leadership. I've been having great partnership with Brian Harris, the Youth Service Center, and Margaret McQuinn for Memphis Freedom.
Fantastic. And so going back to just beautification as a whole, you know, a lot of people, they'd like to, you know, put the responsibility, the burden on the city, Public Works. Why aren't you doing this? This is a real, you know, I feel like it's an overused phrase at this point, but to pull yourself by your bootstraps, take it upon yourself, clean up your own neighborhood, gather what people you can, and to put matters into your own hands in a respectful way. You know, is that a testament to the folks in Orange Mound, to, at least for the trash pickup, the Orange Mound Blight Patrol, making sure that you're able to do your own part, clean up your area, and make it a little more beautiful?
Yes, like I tell everybody, you just can't keep on blaming on the mayor, like for what's going on in your own neighborhood. You just got to take one block at a time, and, like, find a garbage can and keep it clean, and put it in the garbage can, don't throw it on the ground.
And so, what are your goals right now for the Orange Mound Blight Patrol, the other group, Guns Down Orange Mound? What are some of the goals that you have as an organization? You say this has been going on for 9 years now, and so now that you're semi-established there in Orange Mound, so what goals do you have for your organizations?
My goal is for one, just like expand our neighborhood and like expand our neighborhood, like expand our organization and like keep the crime down in the city of Memphis and around our neighborhood.
And so you've got a couple of events coming up. You've been emailing us about some of the events later this month. You've got some events in August too. And can anyone participate? Do you have to be a resident of the Orange Mound neighborhood? Can anyone come? And if they'd like to show up and help out, what are some of the upcoming events you have?
I got one on the 25th at Orange Mound Community Center. Then I got one at Orange Mound Park, the park that my organization adopted. And so right now, it's on the 15th of August. I'm calling all the elected officials out, the mayor, the city council, let everybody know what the Blight Patrol do across the city of Memphis.
And you've got a pretty active Facebook page that's posting all of this. That's where folks can find you. They can just look up on Facebook, Orange Mound Blight Patrol, and they'll find out what they need to know, right?
That's all weird, but most of all, you need college credit. You need any kind of community service hour. It's on the website. You can sign up now. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. Warren Barron, anything else you'd like to add? This is a great organization and a great service you're doing for that part of Memphis.
Like I said, it takes time and it takes patience. Like I've been doing this. Me and my auntie, we love what we do in our community, appreciate what we're doing, but it just takes time from our community. Like on the side, you ain't doing nothing. Just come out and partner with us. And there's too many organizations around here that can't do a cleanup one block at a time.
Love it. Warren Barron, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for what you've been doing with both the Orange Mound Blight Patrol and Guns Down Orange Mound. Again, folks, you can check their website or their Facebook page, and they've got a list of upcoming events and how you can participate. Warren, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much.
All right. Fun stuff there. Again, a true testament to how you can take matters into your own hands, make your neighborhood a little more beautiful one block at a time, as Warren just said. We've got more Action News 5 Digital Desk after the break, guys. We hope you stay with us. Awesome job, Warren. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, folks, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We obviously do our sort of monthly mayoral segments with some of our suburban mayors here in Shelby County. We've done Maureen Frazier, David Parsons, and now next up to bat is our friend, Mayor Mike Palazzolo from the city of Germantown, who 3 weeks ago announced his retirement after 30 years of civil service and many different roles to the city of Germantown. We're happy to have him on and continue to highlight the city of Germantown and what's going on for this month. Mayor Palazzolo, first off, good morning. Let's kind of get off on that foot with the announcement of your retirement. What has it been like to make this announcement and look back on 3 decades of service to the city of Germantown as you get ready for the end of your term in December? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Parker. It's always good to be on Channel 5, and thank you for spotlighting all the suburbs, and thank you for, I guess, accenting my 30 years of service here in Germantown. It's been quite a great ride, and our city's in incredibly good shape, great conditions right now, and it was just a good time for me to be able to allow others to step forward and lead, and we have so many things to be proud of: great quality of life, great public safety, great schools, great parks and amenities, and all those are a reflection of so many people that have volunteered in our city. And what encouraged me about our city and its current shape and condition, Parker, is we have a lot of volunteers. We have about 250 that serve on boards and commissions that I once served on over my 30 years. And we have got a great leadership Germantown class. Those applications will be accepted here, I think, in August or September. And so the future is quite bright here in Germantown.
Love that. And we'll finish tooting your horn after this question, but when you look back on those 30 years, what do you see as being some of your crowning achievements in leadership? Obviously, mayor for 12 years, and before that, various roles, alderman, commissioner, as you mentioned. What do you see as some of your crowning achievements in your time with the city?
Well, we all do it together, and so I've had the privilege to be able to help lead. But starting our own school district, doubling our police districts here in the city, starting our own ambulance service, investing millions of dollars into upgrading our park system. All those things have been things that I think all of our citizens can be proud of. And over that time, those are things that we point to. Also, being able to utilize our land appropriately. We're almost built out in our community. We're landlocked, and so we have to be very judicious on how we plan for the future. And I think our city mothers and fathers have done a really good job over the last really 40 years determining what our path will be. So, I feel very, very comfortable in what lies ahead for Germantown.
Well, hopefully that next generation of leadership can rock Searsucker as good as you can, sir. We appreciate that. Let's get into some of the series we've got going on in July. It's hot, but in some days like this that are a little bit cooler, if we can get past the rain, there's some great outdoor opportunities in the city of Germantown. We mentioned Happy Fridays in the Grove. We've got some new murals on the Greenway. I feel like murals are the next fad. It was exposed brick. Now it's murals. We've been talking to other cities that have been doing these mural projects, but let's get into some of the outdoor opportunities that folks kind of exploring out and about on their bike or by foot with their pets in Germantown. There's some great opportunities we've got.
Our park system, we have 30 parks. We have a 15-mile greenway, and on that greenway, as you mentioned, we have launched we have 2 tunnels under our greenway and on Wolf River Boulevard, and one of those has been blessed with public art through our Public Art Commission, and we have murals throughout that pathway that leads you along the Wolf River. It's great for biking and walking and running and jogging. We have recently revamped our C.O. Franklin Park for 2 of the playgrounds there. We have a playground for the littles, and we have a playground for kids 5 to 12, and those were just installed within the last month. C.O. Franklin Park is near our Germantown Charity Horse Show grounds in Old Germantown. Of course, we have our Grove Amphitheater, which is part of GPAC, is open every Friday for happy hour. We have music there in the plaza. Our beverage center is open. They have food trucks. Hundreds of people come to that, even in the hot weather. Also at GPAC this weekend, Parker, we do have the North Mississippi All-Stars are performing Saturday night, and that will be a great show. And I think it's near a sellout. So if you have not secured your tickets, go to GPAC's website and you can see if there's some available. And so those are some of the outdoor activities in our city.
I love that. No, I got to get on. My wife and I are a big fan of GPAC, and got to hit up the amphitheater now. That sounds like a fun opportunity, especially in the hot weather. Little music, little drink, little food truck. That sounds like a lot of fun. Also, outside, we've got at the end of the month the sidewalk sale. I mean, that's been going on since probably right when you started in office. It's been going on almost 25 years, I believe. Let's let folks know, for those that might be thinking
Well, that's
sidewalk
it.
sale.
And thank you. You know, one of the things we're noted for is a great retail shopping. We have the only Trader Joe's in the region, the only Apple
Yep.
store. And
Yep.
so please come to our city, July 24th through the 26th. 9 of our shopping centers will have all worked together through the Germantown Area Chamber of Commerce. We have sidewalk sales. Yes, this started actually when I was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in 2000, and we had to take a couple of gap years with COVID, and then so that's why we're not 26 years running on that. So there'll be deals at all these shopping centers. They'll have giveaways, a chance to win prizes. It's perfect, Parker, for getting your back to school shopping started. And so please take advantage of that. That's throughout all of the Central Business District and part of our 4 business nodes in our city. You can go to the Chamber's website and see where those deals are located and what shopping centers are participating.
Will do. No, personally, my wife loves going to Saddle Creek, and we've got a 5-year-old who'll be starting kindergarten, so we're with that back to school shopping. So good to know there are some deals out there for parents. So a lot of great stuff happening this July. But I want to go back to just the end of your run in elected office, civil service. You talk about that next generation. You know, what's your message to that younger generation who are beginning to get involved in their community, in their city? This is relevant to Germantown as well as all of our communities in Mid-South. What's your message to encourage folks to get involved in the civil process, whether it's volunteering or running for office? What's your message to aspiring civil servants out there?
Well, we have a program in Germantown called Germantown Volunteer Corps, and so that's through Volunteer Odyssey. So I would just encourage people to take that first step into volunteering. It leads to other leadership opportunities, whether it's volunteering at your local school, to help out in the PTA organization, coaching a ball club, getting involved at your church. Then consider maybe going through a leadership program. There's a Leadership Memphis, Leadership Germantown, Leadership Collierville, Bartlett. All those groups can help someone fine tune their leadership. And I would just give the message to the younger generation. It's, you know, it may be changing, but find your way to volunteer. And that is the first step in a leadership path. And don't be afraid to start that. That's where people, I never thought I would be a mayor, to be honest with you. But when I went through our leadership training class here in Germantown in '96, it inspired me to take a little bit of an additional step forward. So there's our next future mayors. They're somewhere in our city. And I would encourage those folks to just get involved early and get involved often.
Somewhere out there. I love it. Anything else you'd like to touch on for this upcoming month in the city of Germantown before I let you go?
Oh, just come out. Everyone is welcome in our community. We're a community of kindness. And so please stop into Germantown. We have shopping like you would not believe. And so I wish everyone a great, and healthy and safe summer, but come visit us in Germantown. Thank you, Parker.
I can attest firsthand. Great place for shopping. Mayor Mike Palazzolo, City of Germantown. Thanks for coming on, sir. We always appreciate our mayors from our suburbs coming onto the digital desk. We appreciate it, sir. All right, guys, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Let's get a look at some of your top headlines as we get ready to head into Action News 5 at midday. This is the latest in breaking news that we've received from the Shelby County Health Department. The county has declared its first case of measles for this year.
Officials say the infected person may have been exposed, may have exposed others at two specific locations. They're right there on your screen, the Hobby Lobby in Bartlett and the Aldi in Lakeland. The Hobby Lobby was on July 9th. They say between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. and the Aldi in Lakeland, July 15th, same time frame between 6 and 8 p.m. If you were at either place during those times, health leaders urge you to monitor symptoms. Those include rash, fever, cough, red, watery eyes. This is the third case in the state of Tennessee, the other two happening earlier this month in central Tennessee around Nashville. But the department says the local case here in Shelby County is not, or at least does not appear to be connected to the others. If you'd like your MMR vaccine, they're available at any Shelby County Health Department location. Now to some breaking news from a story we brought you yesterday morning. This involves the death of a 3-year-old toddler following a supposed abduction from his home. A quick recap of what's brought us to this point. A 3-year-old Memphis toddler was found dead on North 4th Street near Fourth Bluff Park. This is the child. We've confirmed he is 3-year-old Joseph Martinez, who left his home with his biological father Sunday night. The father apparently did not have permission to take Martinez from the home. He then later returned to the home Monday morning without Martinez. Police searched and later found Martinez's body again on North Front Street near Fourth Bluff Park. An autopsy will determine the 3-year-old boy's cause of death. Now, originally, Memphis police were not disclosing the identity of the father, who was later taken into custody. This is the breaking update we have for you folks. This is the man right here. Saul Martinez, 22 years old, is the father of Joseph Martinez. Memphis police have charged him with first-degree murder, among other charges that you can see on your screen there. We're still waiting for information on possible court appearance for Martinez. But that is our breaking update. The identity of the father confirmed by Memphis police in connection to the death of 3-year-old Joseph Martinez. Our Michaela Redmond is on the story today. She was on the story yesterday. She will have more updates for us in our coverage later this evening. To a story now in Frazier. Police in Memphis here are investigating after a body was found on North Watkins Street near the campus of a church, specifically Pursuit of God. This is what our crew saw. Officers came on a scene shortly after 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The identity of the man has not been released yet, though Memphis police do confirm they are investigating this as a homicide. If you haven't had any information on this, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Now to an update to a story that stems from a fatal shooting back in May involving the Memphis Safe Task Force. The district attorney in Shelby County, Steve Mulroy, has cleared the Memphis Safe Task Force member, saying the use of deadly force was legally justified and that no criminal charges will be filed. You might remember in mid-May, May 13th, this is the Burger King in Frazier. Investigators with the DEA said 41-year-old Darren Pingram, who had a warrant out for his arrest apparently, a wanted man we're told, reached toward his waistband where he had a gun, according to the report. As the agents approached him, they then opened fire, killing Pingram. To another story. Don't know what that was. That faded to black. Nevertheless, this was the scene from yesterday morning at court 201 Poplar. That was Kendra Scott in front of a judge yesterday. Scott has been charged with first-degree murder and a firearm charge following this scene last week. This is in the Walker Homes neighborhood. According to the affidavit, 36-year-old Kendra Scott told police she found a man under her underage child's bed. As he was leaving the home, Scott shot him in the back of the head and told police, quote, "did what I had to do." Scott's attorney says the first-degree murder charge she faces could be lowered. Her next court date is set for August 3rd. A man was arrested yesterday by Memphis police. Jason Arrington here was a former employee at Temple Israel and has been charged with threats of mass violence. According to police, Arrington was arrested Friday after his cousin reported threatening text. The affidavit reads, messages mentioned taking a rifle to Temple Israel and later to Crosstown Concourse. Investigators say Arrington later told them that he sent the text by accident, believing it was going to a friend while researching mass shootings. Shelby County Corrections deputy is off the job after police say he attacked a woman, spit in her face, and threatened to kill her. This is James Webb. He is charged with domestic assault. Last week, deputies responded to a home in Cordova. The victim told police Webb went through her phone and, quote, saw something he didn't like. The sheriff's office says Webb had been relieved of duty, or has been relieved of duty, pending further investigation. To our east in Madison County, 3 people are dead and 9 are injured after a shooting at Neely Station Park outside of Jackson. This was the scene yesterday. The Madison County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened just before 11 o'clock Sunday night. Investigators also say a car was firing a high-caliber rifle from the road outside the park during the shooting. Sheriff Julian Weiser calls it a gang-related incident and says investigators are reviewing park security cameras. This remains an ongoing investigation. Finally, all municipal courts and city court clerks' offices will remain closed today due to ongoing repairs stemming from flood damage. This is at the Shelby County Criminal Justice Complex at 201 Poplar. We're told by Administrative Judge Jane Chandler that all cases set for Tuesday will be rescheduled. However, General Sessions courts are back open. And a reminder, folks, if you have a court date today in those circuit clerk courtrooms, or if you had a court date last week at General Sessions courts that were closed last week, you'll be receiving a reschedule notice by mail. That is what we are told. So more headlines for you coming up after the break. Action News 5 Digital Desk. Stay with us, guys. All right, guys, we're taking you now to South Mississippi, where yesterday the funeral for 18-year-old Nolan Wells was held to a large crowd, including Reverend Al Sharpton, who gave the eulogy. Our sister station, WLOX, has the report from the service.
Justice for Nolan Wells! Yeah! Justice for Nolan Wells!
Justice for Nolan Wells echoed throughout Center Point Church Monday in Ocean Springs as hundreds of people and various emotions filled the space to support Christine and Elmore Wansley as they laid their 18-year-old son to rest.
We thank you, Lord, for the beautiful 18 years that you blessed us with him. Thank you for the joy he brought not only to our family, but also to his friends and everyone in the community whose lives he touched.
Can we have all of his sisters and brothers to stand? Give the family your love.
The crowd steadily grew as family, friends, former teammates, local and state officials, as well as community members came to say their final goodbyes. During visitation time, the melody of worship resonated within many.
How proud I am of you, my son. You grew up to be a very young man that everyone enjoyed to be around.
Words from the Reverend Al Sharpton led the service, ultimately calling for transparency and a thorough investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. This 2 weeks after the teen's body was found on Horn Island. Attorney Ben Crump is still searching for answers for the family as to what happened to Nolan when he didn't return home 4th of July.
Any parent will want the answers as to what happened to their child. They went out on the boat came back, and Nolan washed up on the shore 2 days later dead. When you want answers, when you want transparency, when you want the truth, when you want justice, I mean, is that so much to ask?
While Crump demanded justice, Reverend Sharpton called for a new Mississippi.
It's time to cut the light on. It's time to get rid of our differences. It's time to let love rule over hate. It's time for a new Mississippi.
The memories are what Nolan's parents are left with, and his mother, Christine, never wants her son's name to be forgotten.
As much as our hearts are broken, we find peace in knowing that our son is resting in the arms of the Lord. We will miss everything about him.
Emotional stuff there yesterday in South Mississippi. We're going to go to California now. For those who may not be following, there was a deadly boat capsizing in the San Francisco Bay last week. Well, one of those survivors of the crash is speaking out now about her takeaways from that incident. We have our, I believe Maddie White is the name of the reporter who spoke to this survivor.
Bulmer says it started as a perfect day on the bay.
There was nothing amiss.
A family memorial, laughter, and cuddles with a friend's bulldog.
Otis is my new love.
That's her mom, Carol Boysa, petting the dog. Just 30 minutes later, this would be their last family video together.
Got splashed a few times and then kind of decided, let's go inside.
In seconds, everything changed.
There was one really far tilt this way, and we all went, uh-oh. And then we all started going this way, and then we just realized my mom just went down. My aunt slid past me in a chair, and then realized we're not going back.
As the boat took on water, Stephanie escaped the cabin by diving through a window, desperately searching underwater.
Oh, she's bleeding from her head.
When she finally made it, she noticed she was hurt.
I hit my head 3 or 4 times.
But what she noticed next hurt even more.
Started kind of watching one by one, and I go, I don't see my mom. I don't see mom.
When was the last moment you saw your mom? Was it in the cabin?
Sorry, that's a really hard one.
Her 74-year-old mom, Carol, is among the 2 Volare passengers still missing.
Drink some water here.
Carol spent her life caring for others as both a devoted mother and an in-home caregiver for those in need.
I was standing right next to her in the kitchen. That's the last I saw.
At this point, are you still holding on hope that your mom's alive?
Unfortunately, no.
Stephanie's a nurse in Palo Alto. She says one of the last stories her mom shared that day was to Tandra Madruga, one of the passengers who died.
A story of how proud she was of me being a nurse and living her dream, and I will forever hold that close.
While Stephanie floated in frigid water, she says a kite surfer named Jason became her lifeline.
He had handles on each corner of his board that we could all just hang on to very comfortably.
And later, a man named Jeff, who brought her aboard his boat and wrapped her in blankets. Now she's searching for the 2 of them, hoping she can say thank you.
If I could also somehow meet you and give you a big handshake, hug, whatever you're comfortable with. I owe Jason and Jeff everything.
As the search continues for her mother and aunt, Stephanie says she's holding tight to the memories of their last day together.
A lot of her favorite memories were hanging out with family and her brothers and stuff. So for it to end in that manner was, I think, just really poetic. She's with her favorite people, and yeah, family was everything to her.
Finally, guys, in national news, we're going to take you to Oregon now, where crews are battling fast-moving wildfires. I know that feels like it's been the situation, but it's been in different places. We've been reporting about wildfires in California, in Nevada, in Utah, Colorado, and so now we have these wildfires that are rapidly progressing in Oregon. Kayla James has this story.
Across Central Oregon, a snapshot of the hot, dry, and gusty conditions fueling extreme fire activity. This is a look at the Roe Creek Complex fire in Wheeler County, the largest in the state at nearly 150,000 acres. Hand crews, dozer operators, engine crews, and ranchers all banding together to strengthen control lines and mop up hotspots. Another couple fires of concern, the Akawa Butte fire north of Sisters and the Brewer fire north of Prineville.
We split our forces between the Brewer fire and Akawa fire.
For both fires, Governor Kotek mobilized state firefighting resources over the weekend. And on Monday night, Incident Command broke down their latest strategies during a virtual meeting.
There's a lot of fires in close proximity to each other, so we're competing for a finite amount of resources.
Snow has been absent in a lot of places, and we had an early melt-off, so it kind of accelerated the drying of those fuels. And then last week we had that abundant lightning event and caused a whole bunch of fires on the landscape that we see today.
Crews anticipate some rain within the next couple of days, poised to slow the spread of flames, though stopping short of putting fires out.
Our priority has been to the south side here, where we've got more of the community to the south, heavy equipment, crews, air tankers, and helicopters.
We've been talking about the project in Bolivar that we're going to be joined by Dylan Hill, our friend from Bolivar. He's the Director of Community Development and Tourism for the city of Bolivar. And Dylan, we'll go ahead and just pull the cat out of the bag here. This is a bit of a downtown mural project. You know, exposed brick was a fad, but in Bolivar, we seem to have a lot of it. And we're wanting to add a little color, a little flair. So calling all qualified artists, and we're going to show some pictures of some of the potential facades that could be, you know, the next canvas for a lucky artist to add a little vibrancy to downtown. Dylan, first and foremost, welcome. Thanks for coming on to talk a little bit more about the project. Let's talk about the why. You know, every historic downtown has its own niche, its own class and character. What was it that inspired the folks in Bolivar to sort of launch this bit of a feeler, this bit of an unofficial RFP to artists to try and put their name in to paint a mural in downtown Bolivar? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I appreciate it having me on this morning. First and foremost, I'll just say that this has been a long time coming. This is something that we've wanted to do for a while now. For multiple aspects. One, we know that things like art projects like this bring the community together, and we think that our people are our greatest asset here in Bolivar, and so we really lean into that, and that's something that we want to highlight through this mural project is our people. And the second thing is that it is a economic driver in that it brings people to town to see things like this. People love just a opportunity for a photo shoot, selfie center, for that social media aspect. So we are hoping to be able to draw people in through this mural as well.
I think you're 100% right on that. You know, I don't leave it up to question on where I graduated from, Mississippi State University, and in Starkville, you have a lot of buildings that are historic in that downtown Main Street, but had a lot of exposed brick, and now they have these murals where you see them all over the place now because it is a desirable location to have that aesthetic in the background. So you sent me a couple of these facades. I'm going to throw them up and just have you talk about some of the buildings in no particular order. You know, what are the history behind some of these buildings, and you know, what do we hope to obviously add a mural, but like you said, an economic driver, a tourism driver to bring folks in. Let's show a little preview about some of the potential canvases, if you will.
All right. So this is adjacent to our farmers market. It is on the main strip here. That's not Main Street. It's actually Market Street, but it is our main street through town. And it has got a great opportunity. Obviously, you see a lot of brick there, no windows, so a blank canvas. But also, it is in that parking lot where so many festivals and events take place. Right there at the farmers market. So you not only can see it going down Market Street there, but it's also going to add some flair if chosen for the farmers market area.
Got it. All right, we got the next one here.
This is also on Market Street, just down the street a little bit. I'm sorry, this is on Main Street rather, just down the street a little bit in the same strip of buildings. You do have some windows there, but that could add some flair to the mural, and it will be right across the street from our new boutique hotel that is being funded through our downtown redevelopment program that we just got extended. So we're excited about that coming. It's going to be utilizing the old Bank of Bolivar building, which is a historic building that burned a few years ago. That whole side of the street burned. The shell is still there. The plan is to build that up as the lobby and then build a boutique hotel from anywhere between 60 and 90 rooms off to the side of that. So this is another great opportunity for that. There's going to hopefully in the plans is a rooftop bar there, and to be able to look out and see that would be great.
Very nice.
This is right across the street from that. It would also be visible from the boutique hotel, and I like this one. This is probably personally my favorite because of the extended sidewalk there. This past spring, we did Bolivar Blooms, and where we were pushing people to our downtown businesses and giving them an opportunity to shop all day long on a Saturday and ended the night with a concert at Sand Beach Lake here in Bolivar. And so we set up just table and chairs there for people to stop. We put some street musicians there, and so I think it would be a great opportunity too. Again, a lot of windows there, but that doesn't hold back from the mural, and maybe could be even included into the mural.
Perfect. And finally, it looks like we've got part of a mural that maybe can be restored or added to. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, so this is probably, in my mind, the least likely spot, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because there is the historic advertising mural there. That was an old Purina advertising mural on the side of that building. And so I'm just not completely sold on covering it up. I know it doesn't look that great and that you can't necessarily tell what it was, but there is a lot of history there. However, that building is across the street from one of our fine dining restaurants in downtown, Simon's, and so they have an outdoor area there, patio to eat at, and then again an indoor bar and nice dining room. And so it would look out directly to that. That's a perk there. And that building, that side of the building that you see there, is going to be turned into a high-end event center, and so I'm sure that that could add to that as well.
Dylan, you're good at your job. We've done several plug-ins along with the mural. We've got boutique hotels, we've got festivals. I mean, you just talked about a little high-end event center. Very good at your job. And so you do make the note that these are potential canvases, if you will. What is the selection process for some of these buildings, these potential mural sites? And let's get into the important note that we made off camera, is that these are for qualified artists, not just any person who has painting as a hobby with a can of spray paint. So let's go through the selection process for both the potential mural site and also the artists that we hope to attract with this project.
Absolutely. So first, we want to have an artist who can give us their opinion on the best mural site, specifically because of those windows, because of visibility. To be the artist chosen for this, you're going to have a history of murals. We're going to want to see your work. We're going to want to see what you've done, and so that's part of that RFQ that we sent out. We want people that have a history in this. So that's first and foremost, and then we're going to take the experts' advice on where we actually place the mural. And so the dollar figure that we have to work with here is actually some grant dollars through the state of Tennessee's Celebration of America 250. And so we're excited about being able to utilize those funds, and we hope that there is even a possibility that there's enough funds there to maybe fund 2 of these mural sites. And so that would be an even added bonus for us.
Awesome. So you talk about that RFQ process. For those who might see this, they know somebody or they personally have experience doing this. Where can they find more information to where they can submit an application or portfolio and throw their name in the hat as a potential artist for this project?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's on our website, City of Bolivar website, and our Facebook page, City of Bolivar, Tennessee Government Facebook page. All of the full RFQ is there. For artists or, again, people that might want to send it to an artist. We encourage people tagging others in that Facebook post. We've seen that that's one of the best ways to get the information out. I have personally responded to some of those that we've had tagged just to put it in their inbox because I don't want this to be just a couple of options here. I want us to have the full spread to give us the best opportunity at getting the best artist for downtown Bolivar.
Love it. Final question, Dylan, maybe more of a personal question. I mean, you're the Director of Community Development and Tourism. We plugged a lot in, these murals that you talk is about it being a long time coming, boutique hotels, high-end event centers, rooftop bars, just as someone in your position overseeing all of this come to fruition, if you will. It's got to be an exciting time for Bolivar in terms of that downtown redevelopment, that revitalization, and just bringing people in to see what Bolivar's all about.
Absolutely. We've been blessed for the last 17 years to have our downtown revitalization going on through the State of Tennessee grant program that we're a part of. And so we see this as the kind of the peak. This is where we're going to really be able to shine. This boutique hotel is going to be an economic driver. We've already have established a lot of events here in Bolivar, a big event, a big festival about once a quarter, and then weekly music in downtown Bolivar throughout the summer. And so there's a lot of things going good for us. This is home to me. This has been home my entire life. And so it is a lot of pride for me to be able to work in this position and do what I do.